Hi everyone, I'm Natalia Freakenworth, the founder of MilkHoneyAdvice, and today we have the honor of interviewing Sheldon Low, who I actually saw live in Temple Beth Shalom. Thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Why don't we start by asking you a question about why did you leave engineering for music? What happened?
Sure. Well, you know, it's in some ways not a terribly interesting story, but essentially, you know, when I was in high school, I just remember there being a lot of pressure. There's always the guidance counselors are telling you, well, you know, it's time for you to you need to start on your path, because pretty soon you're going to be in the the real world. And so when it came time to apply to colleges, I just casually decided or realized that, you know, math was what I enjoyed doing. It made a lot of sense to me, and so I picked a place that I thought felt right, and I picked a major that I thought felt right, and I did enjoy it a lot, but you know, it didn't fulfill all of my varied interests. My dad often says that we're blessed and cursed with this curiosity for many different subjects and topics, and I definitely feel that blessing and curse. And so while I do enjoy engineering, I only get to do a little bit of it, you know, fixing, you know, things around the apartment now. And basically, when I got out of college, I tried out engineering for a little bit, and it was fulfilling a portion of the things that I wanted to get out of my life. But thankfully, I was approached very soon, or very near the time of my graduation from college, and it was Rick Reck who basically offered to sign to his record label. And he started me on this path into Jewish music, which has been very fun and stimulating and challenging, and most of all, fulfilling for me. So I definitely miss parts of that really technical math world, but I try to make up for it where I can.
Okay. All right. Is music your passion? Is it something you really, really, really love?
I love music. I would say music is a really powerful and beautiful thing. It really exists in a place that nothing else really exists in. What I mean by that is, it in terms of communication, for example, it has this way of expressing many of the things that words really fail to express, and it has this power also to transport you to another either state of mind or to a memory, or to just really take you out of the moment and put you in a different moment. And I love that mystical power that it has. And it also has the ability to bring people together. And so it's funny, I enjoy it on so many levels. I enjoy listening, I enjoy making music, most of all with other people, other instrumentalists and singers. I love using music as just a common meeting ground for conversation, for spirituality, for worship. It's really, you know, it's hard to even put into words all of the various ways that I feel music is a really vital thing to life.
Okay. Talking about that, I actually read that you're doing a project. It's called Take a Walk in My Shoes. What is that about?
Yeah, I'm not I'm the co-creator of the Take a Walk in My Shoes project. It's taking a back burner right now. I've pursued some other interests, but my fiance and I are very passionate social justice, and in particular, what she's taught me a lot about is gender-specific social justice, maybe is a good way of talking about it, gender equality. And so she's also a singer and musician and songwriter. And again, speaking about sort of power, we wanted to use music as either a medium for education or just a way to communicate and bring these ideas about these sort of social inequalities and gender roles work from male to female, from female to male, to the conversation. It's really very, very interesting because I feel like right now it's a really hot topic. Yeah, it has sort of, I feel like there's sort of a cycle maybe to certain social justice elements. I think that right now, thankfully, we're on a very gender equality heavy period maybe in history, and I think that's fabulous. So what the project is it sort of it combines a rich music with some workshops, and the workshops are themes that sort of highlight and start conversations about the everyday how do I put this? Like I said, it's on the paper, so I'm not...
everyday challenges type of thing, maybe?
What's that?
Challenges?
Yeah, challenges is probably a good word. Or maybe just common ways that there are that we maybe sort of take for granted, but we don't realize the ways in which we are sort of propagating gender inequality, or maybe the ways that it affects us that maybe are sort of innocuous to us. But if we sit and think about them, we realize actually we can do better than this. And it's a bunch of games and it's conversations. And again, obviously I'm a guy, so it can be difficult for me to fully. Well, that's maybe not how I would say it. I guess my angle is to see it from the male perspective. So one of my favorite sort of conversations, workshop elements is one of the workshops that does with only boys. Sometimes she does it with mixed gender. Sometimes she does it with only girls, only boys. And she does it with only boys. She has all the guys sort of create a stereotypical male. And we took this concept from this beautiful TED Talk, and I'm blanking on the man's name who gave the speech, but he talks about the man box and the qualities that fit within the man box. And so you have the actual participants who are youth. It's a youth-oriented program. We have them come up with all of the characteristics of men or characteristics that belong within the quote-unquote man box. And then she has the participants anonymously write qualities that they wish would fit into this sort of stereotypical man box. And then she anonymously, they actually write them and put them into a box, and then she takes them and anonymously reads them out loud so that the group can see all of the things that other boys, just like them, or young men just like them, feel and wish and dream and want. And so, for example, there are plenty of young men who like to go shopping, for example, and feel like it doesn't fit within the man box. And so this is a way of sort of expanding that man box, quote unquote. It's really beautiful. There's a lot of similar type of activities that I think really do a lot of good in the world, gender equality. And it's music-based again. There's lots of music in between the activities, and it culminates in this concert where the Jewish rock band gets on stage and she brings up the participants, and they
were born in St. Louis, Missouri. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood, growing up, etc.?
Sure. Yeah, I was born in St. Louis, and before I was even one, I think, we moved to Kansas City on the Kansas side. So I really grew up till I was about 9 in Overland Park, Kansas, and I went to the day school there, and a lot of my really positive Jewish memories of growing up are from the Jewish Community Center, where I was the first kindergarten class when they built this beautiful building there. And then when I was 8 or 9, we moved back to St. Louis, and I continued from, I had been at Hyman Brand Hebrew Academy in Kansas City, and then we moved to St. Louis, and I started going to Solomon Schechter there. Solomon Schechter, sadly, is no longer there, but it's been replaced by another, as I understand it, wonderful day school. And growing up and going to day school, on top of the fact that both of my parents had been involved in some way in sort of Jewish education growing up, it meant that we did a lot of rituals, spent a lot of time. Judaism was a big part of our upbringing, a big part of my identity. Then, sort of at the same time, I had an American identity that was really into, say, music and really loved playing sports. And when I started getting into middle school and then into high school, and I went to public school and high school, I sort of found myself developing these two identities. And St. Louis is I grew up in a relatively big Jewish community, but being in Missouri, you definitely feel that you're a minority. And going from, I remember when you're in junior school, you got to wear, if you're a guy, you got to wear it all the time.
Right.
And if you're not wearing, you're going to get sort of reminded, maybe scolded by some of the staff, some of the teachers at school. Mm-hmm. And so it develops a habit forming sort of thing. So when I switched over to middle school, I was constantly feeling my head for my kippah, but of course I didn't want to wear kippah when I was in middle school. I really stand out. I don't think anyone wants to in middle school. So I realized I started sort of developing this sort of identity. And it wasn't really until I met Rick Rett that I realized that you didn't need to separate those two identities, that you could be a very proud Jewish American person, and his avenue to do that was through music, and I learned that by seeing him perform rock and roll concerts of Jewish music, stuff from texts that I had learned in day school, that he was putting a contemporary sound onto, and totally giving full-on rock concerts with lights, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It was a really mind-expanding experience for me. So I feel very fortunate that I get to do this now, and that's really one of my main sort of missions in life, is to be able to help other people bridge that gap, be proud of being Jewish, and to also sort of help Judaism, as it always has, sort of keep up with modern times and stay relevant. That's why we're still around people, I believe. So I really try and make it exciting and relevant and meaningful. And that's, I know you asked me about my childhood, but I went through everything.
And are you fluent in Hebrew?
I am not fluent in Hebrew, but I understand quite a bit. I thankfully, my day school experience, I think, put the Hebrew sounds into my brain at an early age. But I'm working on that. I can't exactly explain to you how I'm doing that or why I'm doing that, but maybe in a little bit.
And have you gone to Israel?
I I have gone to Israel. I go to Israel at least once a year nowadays. Trying to see if I can make it 2 times a year because I love it so much there. But it's gotten to the point, I feel fortunate that I have lost count how many times I go to Israel. And it certainly helps to have a fiance who grew up there and have future family all over Tel.
Oh, really? And
Yeah.
how did you meet her?
Well, actually, Jewish music is how we met. And I'll try to make it a short story. Essentially, Hadar, who's my fiance, is a very talented singer and songwriter, many other things, music related. And when she was doing her service in the Israeli army, she was given an opportunity through the Jewish Agency to come to America and to come work at a Jewish summer camp. And because of her musical talents, they sent her to have an Ashira, which is really fabulous Jewish music retreat, I think is maybe the best way of saying it. And she was going to camp to be a song leader, so they were sending her to this retreat. I was a song leader at the camp that I grew up at. So we sort of met briefly there, and I found out that she was going to my best friend's camp in Wisconsin, called Herzl Camp, which is one of the best camps in the whole wide world, actually. And it turns out that she became close friends with one of my best friends, and now his wife and the mother of his 2 children. And to make a long story short, when Hadar came to Boston to finish her degree at Berklee College of Music, and I was there finishing up my degree in mechanical engineering, our friend told us to look each other up, and it has been going on 11 years.
11 years, wow.
Yeah.
And when is the marriage date?
We are getting married in the beginning of July of this year in Tel Aviv.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Are you excited or nervous?
Mostly excited. We're getting down to like the last 4 months before it actually happens, and it's quite a destination wedding, but trying to get all our ducks in a row from afar, and I think it's just going to be a blast. Israeli wedding. We're very informal, and Heather and I just want to sort of celebrate with all of our favorite people in the world, so I think it's just going to be, awesome.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell me some of your favorite dishes?
Some of my favorite dishes.
Can be
Food dishes, yeah?
It can be sweet, it can be salty, whichever. Doesn't matter.
Oh man, you're hitting my heart here. Love to eat. All right, let's see here. Maybe we'll start with cuisine, and you can sort of help guide the conversation.
All right.
So, yes, my fiance is Israeli, but her father is actually born in Iran, so I love Persian food. Any sort of flavored rice dishes, skewers, and stews, like romazanzi, and kubideh, and zeresh, poloveresh, and the tadik, or the bone, the sort of burnt, crispy fried rice at the bottom. I love all of that food. I love Indian food. I love chana masala. We're sort of going slightly vegetarian nowadays, so chana masala and vegetable curries and sag, obviously, and what else do we love? Any type of dal, obviously.
Dal is very good.
Dal is very good. We love Southeast Asian cuisine also, so we've actually spent a lot of East Asia now, so any sort of curry dip, really. What else do we get to eat this past year?
Any desserts in there?
Oh, desserts. Yeah. All desserts, really. What's my favorite dessert? I love eating so much, so.
You're very open to everything that's put in front of you. You'll try it.
Pretty much. I mean, again, we're heading the sort of vegetarian direction. I'm trying to think of what my favorite dessert would be right now. We were at an Italian spot last week, but that's one of the great things about New York. It's actually really hard to have bittersweet, bitter chocolate, dark chocolate.
Oh, that's
So, we had like a dark chocolate cake the other night that was pretty amazing.
And do you cook?
We do some cooking. We try and take a cooking class wherever we go on our travels. Taking cooking classes in India. We've taken cooking classes in Cambodia, in Thailand, in Ecuador, where else have we been to cooking classes? New York, obviously, cooking classes, and we've got friends that are some line cooks, some of the fancy restaurants here in New York. So fortunately, we've been able to have them over. It was sort of an impromptu thing. We learned how to make some Arctic char the other week. It was really awesome. I think it's called a gremulada, sort of chopped greens and oil, and chopped fish in there. It was pretty out of this world.
Okay. And are you close to your family?
Not physically, unfortunately. I've got an aunt that lives just across the Hudson in New Jersey. My parents live in Michigan now, but I to them very, very regularly. And I've got a couple sisters that are plastered around the U.S. And then my mom's got a sister still in St. Louis. My dad has a brother in Seattle and Texas, and my grandparents are in Diego. So physically we're very spread out, but a lot are going to make it all the way to Israel for our wedding. I think that's sort of a testament how close we are. It's really nice. And I got a lot of cousins that I try to see on a regular basis. That's one of the neat things about traveling, but we're spread out sort of all over the U.S. I try whenever I can to fit them in, even just for a brief cup of coffee or something like that.
So you were saying?
Yeah, you were asking me, just remind me?
About Shabbat.
Shabbat, yeah. So I would say I'm not traditionally observant of Shabbat, but I do celebrate Shabbat sort of in the way that I can. I lead Shabbat services around the country. So in addition to my concerts, my music is a lot of it liturgically based. So I try to compose it with that in mind, and I try to enliven and make Shabbat liturgy again just meaningful and relevant and exciting and energetic. So I celebrate Shabbat a lot of times on the road, but that means that I also tend to do our own little sort of Shabbat celebration / date night on Thursday nights where I get on the road. And I always try. My rule Shabbat, usually during the service, during the second, where I really like to take a deep breath, and I like to just, I literally, not sounds easy, but I literally sort of just go through the list of all the people that I love in life and picture their faces, and that's sort of that's my routine. That's really Shabbatistic, in addition to leading the service.
Okay. And when is your next concert?
Well, let's see here. This Friday will be at 6th and I, which is a historic synagogue in Washington, D.C. And then on Saturday, I'm flying to St. Louis to take part in an amazing leadership training convention, conference, retreat, Psalm Leader Boot Camp. The national conference is happening in St. Louis. And after that, I got to think about that. I think I'm going to Virginia for a service, and I have to look at my calendar.
So you're booked. All right.
What's that?
So you're very booked.
I do keep pretty busy. I'm very thankful for that, and it's really amazing. I feel really fortunate, to sort of go back to what you were saying before. I really have been able to sort of align my passion with something that allows me to pay my bills. So.
Okay. How can someone reach you to book a concert with you?
If you'd like to book me, the best way is probably to go on my website, which is sheldonlow.com, and find all the emails and phone number to how Music, which is my agency. You can also try and reach out to me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Sheldon Low. On Twitter, which my handle is Sheldon Low. And I'm also on Instagram with Ello. I'm on Google pages as well. So if you just Google Sheldon Low, I think you'll find some way to reach out to me. But email is usually the best.
Okay, and what's the email?
You can email me at info@sheldonlow.com or Sheldon Low.
Okay. Well, I will provide the social medias on the websites for extra.
Thank you.
I'll provide the video and everything.
Awesome.
All right. So everyone, I want to thank you for being here today and giving
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be part of MilkHoneyAdvice.
Thank you very much. And
Welcome.
we have a special, something special coming up, so watch the second video. You will love it. And thank you again.
Thank you. See you all soon.